Hello and welcome, I'm Olga Belkova and you're watching Head to Head with UATV. American companies seek a long and prosperous relations with Ukraine through the development of energy infrastructure, and as our allies, they oppose the construction of the Nord Stream 2 and Turkish Stream gas pipelines. This is according to the United States Secretary of Energy, Rick Perry. To talk more about this, we welcome to the studio today Olga Belkova, Ukrainian MP and economist. Hello and thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
So, such a statement about the opposition to the construction of Nord Stream 2 is not new to us, but the construction continues. So, what levels of influence do remain still, including the American one?
Well, I'd start by saying that yesterday we heard very strong and a very direct message from Secretary Perry. However, as you mentioned, this is not the first statement of such nature. President Trump is never hesitating to touch this topic. He is totally involved and engaged in discussions with Chancellor Merkel and our president, and he is deeply concerned, as he should be, along with the Congress and everybody who understands the natural danger of the Nord Stream 2 coming to Europe.
Yes.
This is not danger only to Ukraine, but also to Europe at large. And we are especially grateful for the statement of yesterday, because it was very specific in terms of saying that US as a country which possesses right now the largest possible energy reserves in the world. By now, US developed their gas production at a larger scale than even Russia. So they said explicitly that they will not hesitate to use all measures, and those measures may include sanctions.
Sanctions, of course.
May include other, tools of negotiations to convince European partners to see reality the way some of us sees it right now. So that's a very strong message, and I am very grateful for that message. Along with that, Ukrainian parliament addressed a special letter asking for sanctions in particular, because as you mentioned, the pipeline is being built. However, I want to explain that it's not being built as the project of pipeline. Some of the works are done, engineering works are done at both sides, but nothing is done until it's really done.
But it should be commissioned by the end of 2019, right?
I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's realistic, and once again, our parliament, our president, Ukrainian government will use each and every opportunity to stop the project.
But is there anything wrong with the Ukrainian equipment, I mean Ukrainian gas transporting equipment, that European countries would agree for this new construction?
No, absolutely no. I am very confident advocating for Ukrainian transit route, because as of now we have capacity of more than 140 BCM of gas being able to transport it on annual basis. Just in 2017 we transported more than 90 billion cubic meters. The whole Nord Stream 2 capacity is about 55. So this is to say that we have abundance of capacity as of now. No country in Europe is increasing their prospects for demand of natural gas in the nearest 10 to 20 years to a scale that both pipelines would be in need. This means only one, that if we have Nord Stream 2 and Turkish Stream being in place, Ukrainian pipeline will be redundant.
Of course.
We will stay with no gas being able to transport through Ukraine.
And how much money is Ukraine risking to lose?
Well, the money issue is painful, but not the main issue we are concerned about. The money issue is about something between $2 to $4 billion and there
Which
is
is a
nothing
huge amount.
on annual basis. So this is nothing to be replaced. There is not even like any donor cannot replace this sort of income coming to Ukrainian budget, which is right now fighting military aggression in the east. We have all sorts of social pressure in our country. So this is big. This is devastating for the economy. But even more so, we are concerned about real military security, because the pipeline right now is one of the guarantees that Russia will not endanger their own fiscal position, because their own financial situation, because most of their budget income is coming through trade of gas.
Well, actually, American officials, and including the U.S. State Secretary of Energy, Rick Perry, are constantly and repeatedly emphasizing on risk to energy security of the European continent. As you also mentioned, is it possible to halt the construction process at least?
Well, I think everything is possible if great minds will unite their efforts to find a compromise and find a solution for Europe. I want people in Europe be confident that they will have access to affordable energy source and diversified energy sources.
What is the proposition from the United States? How do the price differ from Russia and from the U.S.?
I'm not sure I am in any position to advocate for American interests or explain their rationale, but I can tell what Ukraine can offer. Ukraine can offer at this point a joint operation of the Ukrainian transmission system if it brings some confidence to European partners that they are in charge of operating our transmission system. We are ready to do it. We are also working really hard, and this is where we expect American companies to support us to increase domestic produce of gas, because if more gas is coming from other sources than Russia, be it US, Ukraine, Romania, Norway, any other country, it means that the market is more secure, diversified, and less susceptible to any political risks.
Yes, of course.
So this is our proposition. Help us to mitigate all the scares, all the risks related to situation in Ukraine by jointly operating with us, Ukrainian transmission system. Let's increase production of gas in other regions, including Ukraine, and let's see how Europe will be fulfilling its demands in the next 10 or 15 years.
Well, this is purely a political issue, and we see this, and it is obvious why Russia wants to bypass Ukraine and transporting gas to European countries. But what about European countries being interested in the American gas as the solution, at least to counteract Russian influence on the continent?
Well, I think it's up to each and every country to decide on their own policy around energy independence or energy diversity. You know, the more country has sources of natural gas coming to this particular country, the better it is for them, unless, of course, they, like in Ukraine, they have their own resources or reserves. In terms of our neighbors, Poland right now is trying to engage in a longer-term strategic cooperation with US to get more stable supply of LNG. We welcome that because we do want Poland to be less dependent on the decision-making, in their internal decision-making from potential influence of, let's say, Gazprom, which will be using their ability to use hardball tactics in negotiations for price of gas, because Gazprom never wants to be equal participant of the European gas market the way other companies are. This is totally politicized company, and as we all know, they use gas as energy weapon, as leverage in their geopolitical discussions.
Yes, in their hands.
I do hope that more gas coming from private companies, from US or from other regions, will help Europe to kind of get rid of this long-term dependence on on Moscow.
Well, I also read about Poland signing this 24-year-old contract, and it says that American gas is actually 20 to 30% cheaper than the Russian one for them. I mean, this LNG gas, which would be very profitable for the country, and it could be an option for other European countries as well. But here we prepared an interesting quote, an interesting clip from the statement of Mr. Perry. Let's watch.
Okay.
We certainly want to assist as you reform your government, your structure. For instance, the unbundling of NAFTA gas, the liberalization of energy markets, transparency, predictability.
So he's talking about energy reform in Ukraine. And as far as I know, Petro Poroshenko and Rick Perry launched U.S.-Ukraine Strategic Energy Dialogue. What is it about?
Oh, it's not new dialogue. I'd say.
But is it some kind of a document that proclaims some certain strategy?
Yes, absolutely. We've been together, in this particular topic for many, many years. American experts were helping us to develop our gas market law. They are working with us to develop extraction of domestic gas in Ukraine. We are working on electricity market changes. We are in constant discussions and works, because Ukraine understands that in order to participate in European market, we need to be attractive, reformed, clean of corruption, and we need to be more or less very strategic partner for the market. So we understand our homework and everything which was mentioned. This is our homework: liberalization of markets. As of now, if we talk about gas market, the industry segment of it is fully liberalized, so there is no one particular monopoly on it. I am hearing that everybody who wants to trade gas is able to do so. There are some minor technical issues.
Not only Naftogaz.
Not only Naftogaz. We have about 30, 40, 50. It depends on the period of time and interest from potential market players. We have local companies. We have Western companies. We have European companies. Those companies are able to compete with each other and offer better deals for local consumers. We are still in our process of achieving more results, better results in terms of consumer market and heating market. This is all hard work which was unfortunately not done in the last 15 or 20 years when Ukraine was stronger, not under aggression of Russia. Unfortunately, we have to fight all the fights right now, but we are working on it. So I do expect this new dialogue to sort of like expedite some of the reforms which are still pending, put in place appropriate people to take leadership on some of the processes which are lagging behind. And I'm sure we will see results as other countries who do the same, who go through the same path. It's painful at the beginning, because in many cases it means that we have to change the system of support, let's say, to households, consumers, and they don't want any changes right now because they're in a very difficult economic situation. But still we find some new ways how to find a compromise between the social policy and the liberalization of the markets.
Well, speaking of this gas war between Ukraine and Russia, because we know that we not only have a war in the east of Ukraine, but also this gas war with the lawsuits between Ukrainian Naftogaz and Russia's Gazprom, and also about this gas transit and gas supply system. What position does Ukraine obtain now? Are we strong enough to... Did we get stronger, at least? Did we get our stronger position, stronger stance to hit back?
Just a mere fact that we are not buying gas from Russia right now makes us stronger in terms of our ability to engage in different types of negotiations and be more strategic and pragmatic, be it with Russia or in a court appealing, or defending our own position. I think we do. We are stronger right now.
We're energy more independent.
And we are totally. I'm not saying we are totally independent, but I'm saying we are more independent in terms of our ability to engage in different type of energy negotiations right now, be it with Europe or with Russia. However, the true independence will only come if we sustain our own needs and even export some of our energy, be it electricity or gas.
We have deposits for that. I mean, natural
we
deposits.
have absolutely, from all points of view, all the experts, Western, even Russians, they know we do possess appropriate resources and reserves. And it is up to us to expedite this work and to make sure that we gain true independence, and then we become really strong. But back to issues about court decisions and our position to agree with them. Of course, we have proven that we are a reliable partner. We fulfill our obligations. We act according to the agreement we sign, or we defend appropriate changes to those agreements if we see them being very unjust in terms of Ukraine. However, as you see, Russia doesn't really care about all the international courts and decisions being made, and I see they expect some political changes, and I would really want to see Ukraine being independent from gas contracts influencing how presidents or politicians, any other politicians, are being elected in this country.
This would be the best result of it.
One of the key reforms to make in this country.
Okay. Well, Ukraine is a reliable partner for gas supply and gas transit. This would be a good conclusion for our conversation. Thank you for your interesting comments, and thank you for being a guest today in our studio.
Thank you.
That was Olga Belkova, Ukrainian MP and economist. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Olga Belkova. Goodbye.